This summer's hottest DIY trend, it's tie-dye. Hey everyone, it's Christina from the DIYmommy.com. This summer I have spent a ton of time at home with my kids, as I know a lot of you have too. One of the things we've been enjoying doing together is tie-dyeing shirts, shoes, housewares, you name it. It's such a fun family activity. Plus it gives some beautiful, colorful results. I'm testing a few different ways to tie-dye objects, and I'm gonna share with you exactly step by step how to do it, how to get the results that you want, and everything I have learned. Ready to get tie-dyeing? Let's get started.
First up, let me show you how to tie-dye shoes with a sort of ombre pattern. First, what you need are some cotton canvas shoes. Now the cotton is very important because tie-dye will not adhere to any polyester or man-made fibers, so a cotton shoe is really important. I'm using these Roxy shoes from the shoe company. They actually sent me these shoes for free because I worked with them on an Instagram live. Next, you want to take out all of the laces and then make sure to rinse off your shoes with water so they're nice and wet. I'm using this tie-dye from Tulip. It comes in a kit, so there's some powders, and then you can add the powder to this little container and then add water. All of the instructions are in the kit. Next, wipe off the sole of your shoe so it isn't wet, and then take some painter's tape and tape off the sole and any portion of the shoe that's rubber that you don't want the tie-dye to stain. Now the tie-dye won't stick to any rubber, but it might stain it a little bit. You can get out any blotches and things with bleach, but it's a lot easier just to tape off any of the rubber first. Now you're ready to tie-dye. So I'm going to make these in a 3-color pattern, and I'm going to give them a sort of ombre effect. So you just want to start by applying the dye right onto the shoe. You can see that it essentially goes wherever it wants, and that is the fun of tie-dye. You kind of have to relax a little and let the dye do the work. It's going to be a little natural looking, a little bit organic, and that's the fun part about tie-dye. So don't worry if you have any little extra splotches or blotches anywhere. You want to just enjoy that look. So I am applying this fuchsia colored tie-dye to the toe of my shoe, and then next I'm taking this purple and applying it to the next third of the shoe. You want the dyes to meet each other. As you can see, I got a little bit of a drip on the toe of my shoe on the fuchsia part, but once you let the dye set and wash it and dry it, it's not as noticeable, and I'll show you what I mean at the end. Once you apply your next color, you're going to take your finger and you're just going to blend the dyes together. Just rub them together with your finger so that they have this nice transition ombre effect. I'm doing the same thing to the second shoe and blending it in with my finger. Then I'm taking my final color, which is my favorite color, this sort of teal blue. I'm applying it to the back third of the shoe and then rubbing it into the other color with my finger just as I did before. I'm also adding a little bit of dye on the back heel of the shoe. And then doing the same exact thing with the second one. This next step is really important. Once you're finished tie-dyeing your shoes, take a large Ziploc bag or a recycled grocery bag and put the shoes inside. You're going to want to keep the shoes inside the bag overnight, and 24 hours is even better for the dye to set. After you've let the shoes sit in the bag for overnight or 24 hours, now you can wash and dry them, and I'm just using my regular clothes washer and dryer. Make sure to wash and dry the shoes alone so that the dye doesn't bleed onto any other objects. You're going to want to wash them alone the first couple times. And here's how these shoes turned out. They are so super cute. My oldest daughter has claimed them for her own. She absolutely loves them. I did those ones, and then I did a couple other pairs in a rainbow effect. I did exactly the same process, except I used all of the different colors of the rainbow from the front toe to the back heel of each shoe, and I think these ones turned out super cute as well. Next up, let me show you how to do reverse tie-dyeing. So I got these dresses. The left one is from Amazon. I will link it down in the description box below. The right one, just ignore it because it didn't work. It was much too light. Here are the things I have. I have some elastic bands, some water, a bleach solution, and some rubber gloves. First things first, you want to wet the object as well. It's always very important to wet any object that you tie-dye, and that's how the dye is going to go evenly on the object. Then wring out your dress. I'm doing this outside because I'm using bleach. Then I'm accordion folding my dress into fourths, folding it in half this way, and then taking some rubber bands and placing them about 3 to 4 inches apart on my folded dress. Now, this type of reverse tie-dyeing is something I would not recommend doing with kids because it does involve bleach. So you can do it alone, or you can do it for your kids and make some clothing for them. I also recommend making sure to follow the directions on your bleach bottle and do this in a well-ventilated area. That's why I'm doing it outside. Next, I'm folding the dress in half and adding on even more elastic bands and putting it in this recycled pie plate. Next, I'm taking this solution of 50% bleach to 50% water, and I'm spraying it on my dresses that are all tied up. Make sure, again, you follow all the safety directions on your bleach bottle and wear rubber gloves for this. As you can see, the gray dress on the right isn't changing color at all, so definitely don't use a light colored dress. Opt for a darker colored dress like this dark pink one that I have on the left. You can already see the color changing on my pink dress, and I was really excited to unfold it. So after you spray everything with bleach, you can let it sit for about 10 to 15 minutes, and then you can remove all of the elastic bands. This is a fun part because you can see what your pattern looks like. Again, it's tie-dye, so it's going to look very organic, and you really never know what you're going to get, and that's the fun of this DIY. After I took off all of the elastic bands, I washed and dried my dress all by itself in the washer and the clothes dryer. And here is how this one turned out. I love this reverse tie-dye effect. It's also a fun way to upcycle clothing that you're maybe just getting a little bit bored of and you want to add some pattern to it. And it's such a fun way to DIY some clothing for summer. This dress is also super comfy, and again, I'll make sure to link it down in the description box below. Finally, let's tie-dye a t-shirt. You might know this one. My kids did these shirts and they loved them. Take a t-shirt, I found mine at Dollar Tree for only $1, and then you can wrap it in a spiral just like I'm doing here. Next, take some elastic bands and secure the t-shirt just like this. Again, it is very important to wet your t-shirt before you tie-dye it so that the dye evenly spreads across the fabric. You can add as many elastics as you want to this project. The more elastics, the less tie-dye is going to show on your finished t-shirt. Also, again, make sure that you're using 100% cotton fabrics because those are what's going to accept the tie-dye the best. Now you can see that my daughter is doing this one, and she's very carefully applying some of that same tie-dye I used in the first DIY, the tulip kits. I will link the kits down in the description box below, and just dyeing different sections of this t-shirt. You want to apply more dye than you think you need because once you unravel the t-shirt, a lot of white is going to be showing. So she decided to do a rainbow pattern for this t-shirt and using fuchsia, orange, yellow, green, blue, and purple. You can see my mom hands kind of hovering beside her and helping her along. This is a fantastic craft to do with kids. It's certainly messy, very messy, but if you set it up and just put aside a whole day to do a bunch of tie-dyeing, you can get all of your t-shirts, all of your shoes ready and just do it all in one big fun day and just clean it all up at the end. After you finish tie-dyeing all of the sections of the t-shirt, you can take off all of the elastic bands, again put it in the washer and the dryer all by itself or with other freshly tie-dyed objects. And here is the final t-shirts. All my girls made these and were so happy to do the craft and really excited once we washed and dried them to see the final designs.
Thank you so much for watching this video today. I hope you enjoyed it. Let me know down in those comments below if you have ever tie-dyed anything and if you have any tips and tricks that you want to share with everybody. I would love to know anything and everything about tie-dyeing. If you like this video, please give it a thumbs up and subscribe to my channel for more DIY and decor ideas on a budget. I'm gonna leave some more videos that I hope you will watch next right up here.